Good morning. Welcome back to the Brick by Brick podcast with Ronald Paulius. Our special guest is back with us. She was with us last week, and Hayya shared about her journey, how she got started, and some of the challenges she faced as a young entrepreneur, as a mom. And so I got her back on. She was gracious to give me a little bit more of her time. And so, my listeners, this is for you because I know you want to build the future you want brick by brick. And so, let's get right into it. I have this question for you. What has been the most rewarding experience as an entrepreneur so far?
Hmm. Well, um, it's hard to say, but one of the most recent ones that is top of mind, it just made me say, yes, this is why I do this. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
in the real estate investing space. And um, so my specialty, I find on findable people. I work with probate, I
Mm-hmm.
think death scares a lot of people, but, it doesn't scare me. Um,
Yeah.
and so this one woman, this guy, he had passed away and he really didn't have relationships with a lot of people and he had become estranged from his family. So his mother and
Mm.
sister really were the only ones in his family left. His parents were divorced for many decades. Um, so he passed away and his house was going to foreclosure. And one of my partners brought me into the picture and I finally called the sister. The guy had died in like January 2023. Called the
Mm.
sister. She had no idea her brother had died. And
Wow.
so hearing it from me was the
Wow.
very
Wow.
first
Wow. Wow.
time, yeah, that she'd heard that. And he died by himself. Turns out, he had a heart attack on his front lawn as he was mowing the lawn and he
Mm.
collapsed. No one gave him CPR. And he was
Mm.
taken to the hospital where he later passed away. But, it was a tragic situation, but it made such a difference for this lady. So his sister was 70 years old and she's a massage therapist, still working as a massage therapist because if she doesn't work, then she doesn't make any money. And she's 70 years old.
Wow.
She wasn't married, no kids, so she's really by herself.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so when the brother died, and this is the way I do the real estate investing business is different from how a lot of people do it. Because like I could just say, yeah, let me buy the house and that's the end of the story. But
Mm-hmm.
there are people, this is where my coaching experience is truly helpful here because we rarely ever talk about the house. We're talking about people's lives. And
Mm.
really, so this woman didn't have a lot to fall back on, right? And so the brother, his house was going to foreclosure, and we got the property sold, etc. I think we did in like 2 weeks or something. But I said to
Wow.
her, yeah, I said, I'm going to have one of my team members. I'm not in the local area, so I had one of my team members there to go to the property. I said, I need you to go find whatever account statements you can find in this house. The guy had tons and tons of boxes. But
Mm.
she went and she found statements about his like investment accounts and insurance accounts and all this stuff that had she not gone there, the next investor who bought the house would have thrown everything away.
Yep.
She would never know. The
Yep.
sister would have never known. So it turns out the brother had about close to 1.5 million that she would now inherit. Yeah. So
Wow.
that changed her life, and while we were waiting to close,
Wow.
yeah, it was amazing. She had an accident, a car accident that totaled her car, and she had to go spend money that she didn't have to buy a vehicle because if she didn't go, oh, and she had like soreness and injuries from the airbag deploying, but she had to go to work because she had no
Mm.
other alternative.
Mm. Mm.
So when I called her to tell her this, you know, like
Wow.
yeah, life changing. Um, there was the part for her that, as she said, and it's true, it was very sad that her brother, instead of relationships, he collected money. And I've seen that a lot.
Mm.
People collect different things when they don't have the close relationships. That's
Mm.
really important, relationships. But she said it was sad that he collected money instead of relationships. But she was able to benefit from that, and it's going to change her life to where she doesn't have to work until she dies to be able to live.
Mm,
So for me, it's like, okay, not just that we did the deal, we made quite a bit of money on the deal, but it wasn't about just doing the deal. We changed someone's life in the process. And
literally.
that's what means the world to me.
Wow. I
Mm-hmm.
think that a lot of people don't realize, and I shared this in the episode before, don't realize the value we bring as real estate investors.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, we are bringing value to the family. We are helping the people. I'm local here in Oklahoma City. I'm working foreclosures, pre-foreclosures. I'm doing my best to help the family members who they're in a rough situation. I mean, they've lost loved ones, they've lost a
Mm-hmm.
breadwinner, they've lost their job, just numerous things. Divorce. I can't tell you how many divorces I
Mm-hmm.
am hearing about for families in foreclosures. And we're in the sub two community, the both of us, and the
Mm-hmm.
way we're taught is bring value to people, and that's what we're doing. And in the
Mm-hmm.
process of bringing value to people, we make money that allows us to take care of our families.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're doing things that, like you said, 70 years. I can imagine being 70 and one day, Monday, I'm going to work, and in my mind, I have to work the rest of my life. And then Tuesday, I get a call from you, and like, hey, I can help with
Mm-hmm.
this. And like, okay, well, I don't, sure. And Thursday, I get a call. Hey, actually, your brother had 1.5 million that you're gonna inherit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just love that. Um,
Wow.
and the thing in the space, it just irks me when people call like, why are people not talking to me? Why am I not getting deals? I'm like, because you call and say, I want to buy your house instead of let me
Yeah.
find out what is happening with you,
Mm-hmm.
and the house
Mm-hmm.
is just a symptom. Like, you actually have to care about people. Um,
Yeah.
that's when you're going to be the most successful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So true. So true. I think
Mhm.
when people come in and they're hungry for this and they're hungry for that, people could, I mean, they could smell it off of you.
Mhm.
They could sense it.
Absolutely.
They could see it. Oh, this is just the one thing you want. But when you have that people first mentality, that perspective, that value, even
Mhm.
everything else that comes after that is just cherry on top. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm helping a family going through for pre-foreclosure, and the dude has no vehicle.
Mhm.
His baby mama left him. His kids are autistic, and they about destroyed the house. And he's outside. He's out of work. He was a trucker most of his life. I'm driving to his house, and I see him walking the other way. So
Mhm.
I'm like, what in the world? I'm literally going to knock your door to talk to you. I drive it, I park, do a U-turn, go the other way. And I'm like, guy, I insert
Mhm.
name. Where are you going? He comes in and he's like, I'm going to the library to work on some stuff. Like drive him to the library. And in the process, like, okay, how you doing? Last time we chatted, you had to make a payment by this date. He's like, yeah, I was able to make the payment and I want to keep the house. It's like, awesome, awesome. Dropped them to the library, went on my day. He's probably going to keep the house, which is awesome. My value is to help people, and he's worked out the details for that. But I can't tell you how many times I've
Mhm.
had to do something where I did not get paid a single penny.
Mhm. Yeah.
What
Yeah, and I
about you?
mean,
Give me a story like that, if you
hmm.
have one.
Oh, well, I have a lot of stories.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Is there a story like the 1.5 million where you made money and you changed your life? 1.5 million, but maybe there's another story where you didn't make money, but yet you changed your life.
yeah, there was. I remember. I don't remember what year it was. Probably like 6, 7 years ago. We were working on buying this property in DC and worked really hard. it was a disturbing situation for me, to deal, and my
Mm,
husband, because there was a child involved. There was domestic abuse involved. Um,
mm,
and so we didn't
mm,
get the deal done primarily because of the attorney that was involved, who just wasn't very good. But,
mm.
you know, these people were squatting in a property that didn't belong to them. It was the husband, the wife, and the child. The husband, I mean, when we finally got into the place, uh, it was, you wouldn't think anyone would live there. There was trash everywhere.
Ah,
And there
yeah.
was a little child, I think 6 years or younger, living there. The child
Mm.
was mute. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's because of the
Oh,
experiences they've had, in their life to
wow.
that point. But I had met with the woman separately. We met at, some little breakfast cafe, and we talked. And I realized, she was in an abusive situation, but she was having difficulty getting out. And so what I
Mm,
was able to do was one, just give her just some hope that somebody cared, about her,
yeah.
give her some resources, and, just give her some strength, a little bit of strength, because I think she needed strength, first of all, to even withstand that herself and keep her child safe, or fairly safe.
Mm, mm,
Um, but, we didn't end up getting the deal, but this guy made all kinds of threats towards us, etc. But we were able to, we called up the local church, we called up some other agencies, reported it, and,
wow.
had the church, like reach out to her with resources of where to go and where to live. So I'm not sure how it ended up in the end, but they got out of that space. I'm hopeful that
Mm,
she got to a safe place, but it was heartbreaking for me because it was this mom and her child dealing with this guy, who was just abusive. And it wasn't hard to see because he was trying to be that way to us. And I'm not the kind of person, my husband's definitely not the kind of person
mm.
to stand by, and have
Yeah,
someone
yeah, yeah,
release
yeah,
threats. Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, everything doesn't end up working out the way you would hope it would work out, but you have to do your best. And I
Mm,
think service is really important. You have to serve. Well, at least
mm,
it's important for me.
mhm,
Being a service and being able to help people, you may not be the final step, but you have to do what you can do in the moment. And that doesn't mean necessarily overextending yourself in every situation. Of course, you have to be wise about,
mhm,
what situations you're placing yourself into. Um, but whenever you can, whenever it's possible, serve, help. I think it's important.
mm.
You don't need to get paid for everything. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's valuable.
yeah.
I have one more question as we come to the end
Hmm.
of this episode. Thanks for your time again.
Hmm.
I am driving to work. I listened to last week's podcast. I heard you talk about golden handcuffs. Heard you talk about the freedom you have now to be with your kiddo, to be with your husband, to work with your husband,
That's a
to
different podcast.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Would you share I'm wanting to bring value to the marketplace. I don't really know what to do. I don't really know what to start. Is there a principle that if I just adopted and integrated it into my life that or several principles, two or three, that you think if I had this value, if I use this principle, if I'd be successful. I'd
Hmm.
take these golden handcuffs off one of these days.
Yeah. Huh, that's a tough question. I think, I may have a different answer if I spend some time marinating on it.
Hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that's important, and I had to learn this myself, I'm still learning this lesson. You can't do everything by yourself. You cannot, don't try to do everything by
Mm.
yourself. Because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can,
Mm-hmm.
you can get a certain distance, but again, like I said earlier, when you partner with people who share the vision, share the values and morals, you can go further
Mm-hmm.
than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of people have this idea. We did a deal a month ago with a guy whose initial thought was, oh, I can't partner because I want to keep all of this to myself because I need to make X
Mm.
amount. Well, we partnered and he made 3 times the amount. And so, yeah,
Wow.
so it was actually our biggest deal ever. I think we were at $305,000 profit. But yeah, so partnering, you
Wow.
need other people, right? Don't try to do it
Yeah.
all by yourself. You're going to drive yourself crazy and you're not going to get as far. So I
Mm.
think, you know,
Hmm.
regardless of if you're in a job or already started entrepreneurship, you need other people around you to pour into you, to give you ideas. You don't
Mm.
have to be their
Hmm.
best friend or
Hmm.
anything, but they might give
Mm.
you the seed of an idea that takes you on a different journey. But you need
That's
other
good.
people.
That's good.
hmm
That's so
So
good.
that's what I
Thank
got
you
at the moment.
again.
You're welcome.
Thank you again. How can our listeners get a hold of you so that they can reach out? You got it. You've talked about coaching. Doesn't sound like you do that anymore, but I want to at least give them an opportunity to follow you and
Yeah.
see what you're putting out.
hmm Yeah, well, I'm a coach at heart, so even though I don't have a coaching business, it's all through my day to day. But I'm on Instagram, Hayya Lee underscore McD, HAYYALEE underscore MCD. I think it's on the screen partially, but
Yes.
you guys can reach out to me there, and from there you'll be able to connect with me in other ways.
Awesome. Haya, thank you so much for your time. That resource none of us can get back. Thanks for pouring into my audience. And I'll tell you this, the people who are listening are people who are wanting to take action, who are
Yeah,
missing little pieces here or there. And the few minutes you've given us today have connected those pieces for some people so
good.
that they can build their future brick by brick. Have a good rest of your
Awesome.
day. Bye bye.